right, financial lit. We are going to go through this student loans review. We're going to kind of go through this and talk about it. All right, so we have some new stuff. The notes you got in class cover all of this. All right, so Bob, we're going to talk about Bob. He's going to decide to go to college. He needs to take out loans, and we need to pay attention because this could be us someday. So we want to think about this. So he filled out the FAFSA. Number one, make sure you know what the FAFSA is. Make sure you know the definition. You also need to know what the student aid report is. You need to know what the expected family contribution is, the EFC. You need to know what those things are. So if you don't know what those are, make sure you look those up. Make sure you know the difference between a loan and a grant. And make sure you can do that. So those are the big things that you need to know. So if I were to write on here, I would put, let's see. So you need to know what this is, what this is, and then we're going to put EF, oops, I have the E. Okay, and then the difference between a loan and a grant. All right, so we're going to talk about, so unsubsidized loans. You have choices between unsubsidized loans. You can defer all payments until the grace period, and the length of, so that's your length of school and 6 months. Most of our examples are going to be based on your freshman year. So this is where you're going to use that I equals PRT. Okay? The big thing is you're going to take the loan amount plus the principal accrued during accrued, there we go. The loan amount plus interest accrued during the grace period, you have to add those things together, and that's going to equal a new principal amount. That new principal amount, that's what you're going to use in your monthly payment formula. When you're figuring this time out, your T is going to be equal to 4.5. When you're figuring this part out, your T is going to be equal to 10 years. This industry standard for student loans is just 10 years after your 6-month grace period. So you could do that. You also could begin and make payments right away. So if you were going to do that, you could start making just a standard loan payment, and that would go towards just your you can start doing that, or you can just pay the interest, and when you do that monthly, that's where you're going to use the I equals P times the number of days in the month that you're paying for times the rate over 365. Okay, so again, all of these notes are on there. And then if you've paid this, if you break it up monthly, then when you do this, when you plug in your monthly payment, when you plug it into your monthly payment formula, then you're going to use that original P that you borrowed because you've already paid the interest that accrued that was adding up while you were in school. So we're going to do a couple of examples of that. All right, so if you're doing unsubsidized loans, then the government pays the interest while you're paying in school. So you pay $0 while in school in interest. Okay? Then you're going to use that monthly payment formula. I'm just going to write monthly payment formula. You're going to use that monthly payment formula right here, and that'll be, again, for your 10 years, you'll start making payments on that. You also can start making payments right away, and then that just kind of chips away at your principal. That allows you to make your principal smaller while you're in school. And then when you graduate in that 6-month grace period and you start making your payments with interest, you actually have a smaller principal amount because you've made payments towards it, and that will allow you to pay less. So those are different options. All right. So here's our first example. We have an incoming freshman, Bob. He's going to receive a 10-year, $8,680 federal direct unsubsidized. So we want to make sure we do that. Unsubsidized, we're underlining. That means he's paying interest the whole time. His interest rate, so we want to underline that because we're going to need that. We also need the principal. Sorry, I forgot to underline that. And then it says he knows he can begin making payments after he graduates, 6 months after he graduates, but interest is going to start to accrue from the moments the funds are given to him. How much interest is going to accrue while he's in school? So this is where we're going to use the simple interest formula, and we're going to plug it in. So my P was 8,680. My R is 0.0373, and my T, this is just for the interest while in school and the 6-month grace period, so 4.5. So if you read through the problem slowly, it also helps you figure it all out. So you're going to multiply all of that out, so you're going to get 8680 times 0.0373 times 4.5, and that's going to equal $1,456.94. So that is just the interest. So that's going to be the answer to that question. But we're going to use that number. So he's going to decide to defer all the payments during the 4.5-year period, and we have to determine how much interest he's going to pay on the loan. Well, first, we know that he's accrued this much interest already before he even makes one payment. So we need to add that to that original loan amount. And that equals, I don't remember the number exactly, so I'm going to go find it. 1 second. Okay, so that equals $10,136.94. That is our new principal. So that's going to equal our new principal. Now we're going to plug all of this into the monthly payment formula. And the reason why we're going to do that is we have to figure out how much he's going to pay, but we're going to be paying interest on top of interest if we don't make any payments beforehand. So we're going to plug all of that in. So 10136.94 times the rate over 12 times 1 plus the rate over 12 raised to the 12 times 10, because remember, industry standard is a 10-year loan, and we've already figured out the first 14.5, plus 1 plus 0.0373 over 12 to the 12 times 10 minus, minus 1. Okay, you can put this in your calculator and you're going to get a number. You're going to get something like 101.34, I want to say, but let's make sure. So we're going to go into Desmos. So 1 second. So we type this into Desmos. It looks exactly the way that I wrote it. It's much easier to use, so I like Desmos, but you can use a graphing calculator. You can do that. I'm just not going to show you. So we did get 101.34, and the reason why I know it's 34 is that 5 tells me I raised that to go up. All right, and so let's go back to our problem. So 101.34. Now we take that amount, and that's only for 1 month. But remember, we're making this same payment. That's one of the nice things about student loans is it's the same payment for 10 years, but we got to make that payment for 10 years. So So we get 101.34 times 120. 120 are the amount of months in 10 years, and that equals $12,000. But that's our total paid. That doesn't tell me the interest. So we need to subtract the 8,680 from that amount, and we end up with, we get total interest. So the interest paid would be $3,480.80. That is the total paid in interest. Total interest. I spelled interest wrong. All right. That's how we find that. So now we're in scenario 3. So suppose Bob paid the interest during his 4-year period, grace period. So now we're going to do the exact same thing, except already paid while in school and the grace period. He's going to pay the $1,456.94, which we already figured out. Okay, so now we just have the original principal, and we're going to put that in our monthly payment formula. So if we do that, so you're going to want to write this in your notes. You want to put this exact same thing in your notes. So if we do that, then he pays $86.77 a month. But again, we want to multiply that by 120, and that gives us that number. And then we take that number, so that gives us the total amount paid, 412.94 0.40, and then we need to subtract the principal to figure out how much over the 10-year period, how much interest is paid, so 8680. So we end up with 1732.40. So make sure you put all of this in your notes. And then remember, if he paid 1732 over the 10 years, 3240, but don't forget, while he was in school, he paid 56.94 in interest while he was in school. So the total amount paid was $3,189.34. So that's the amount that was paid. Oh, that doesn't help me. So I'm going to make sure I write that here. Let's see. So total interest was that 3,100. Oh, now I already forgot what it was. So this is the total interest paid. So make sure that you got all those notes that I did in Desmos, because I did all the math instead of writing it out in Desmos so you could see it. Make sure you put all of that in there. So you have to add the original loan amount. All right. So now, when we changed scenarios, we said that Bob chose to pay the interest, but we would want to know how much he would pay. So then that's when we would take the interest is equal to the principal, 8680, times the amount of days, times the rate, which was the same from the original, over 365. And that's going to equal 2617, I think. Let me make sure. 2661. So that is the amount he would pay for that month. Okay, so tomorrow we will start here, and I'll have a new video for you. Thank you.